But you don't offer the sacrifice at the arch, right?
Yeah,
But that is very imperial kind of language, isn't it?
yeah.
Right?
Well, sorry to bring this up, and I hate to be political, but it's a little touchy in
Oh,
Washington, D.C. right now with the proposed arch in the right in front of Arlington Cemetery.
wow.
But
Okay. Yeah. Right. All right. So there you
we'll talk
go.
about that.
You want to talk about that? What else would you like to get off your chest today? All right. Is
Yeah,
that a?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Good day to you. I'm Jeff Kloha.
And I'm Alec Fisher, and welcome to Variant Readings. Today we are looking at the epistle lesson assigned in the Revised Common Lectionary for the fifth Sunday of Easter, and that reading is 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 2 through 10. We're going to come around and actually begin with verse 1, though, just to kind of pick it up where the section begins.
Right. Yeah, and verses 1 and 2 is one sentence, so it's better
Right.
to keep it together anyway. And this section, for whatever reason, the lectionary did the second part of chapter 2, and now we're going back to the first part. I'm not sure why the change in sequence, but if you're just doing this for the Greek, you might want to do it in the canonical order. But in any event, this section of 1 Peter 2 is in some ways pretty familiar, especially the last couple of verses, the familiar verse about a royal priesthood, a holy nation, people belonging to God. But really the focus of this section is a corporate one. So understanding that the work of Christ in the world, in the church, is a communal activity. And there's a way of relating to one another in that community, which is being encouraged in this passage. And you'll see some reflection from the Hebrew Bible here, especially from Leviticus, which is not surprising. And of course, some citations. I think it's Psalm 36 we get down here later on. So it's picking up that language. But, I think we often, especially as Americans, Westerners, tend to individualize the faith and even our reading of the text. And here it's a pretty clear corporate encouragement. And we see that right away in verse 1. So let's hop into that, where it talks about the negative behaviors that are put aside, right? So I'll read the Greek.
All right, I'll
Chapter
bring
2,
it up
verse 1.
on the
Got it?
screen here.
There we go. Excellent. So let's go through the Greek, and then we'll analyze it here. So, apothemenoi un pasan kakian, kai pantadolon, kai hypokrisais, kai phthanos, kai pasas, pasas katalalias. There we go. Pasas katalalias. All right. So starting off right away with an aorist participle, which will be modifying the verb that we won't get until verse 2, which is why we need to put these together. And here it's probably temporal, I would say. So having put aside is probably what's going on there. Apothemenoi from apotithemi. So having set aside, therefore, with the un, and then these negative behaviors, all of which are behaviors done to other people. So pasan kakian, all malice or ill will is another way to translate that word. The King James here, if I remember right, actually uses wickedness, which does mean that in some contexts, but here, because again, all these actions are done to other people, wickedness is just kind of too broad. And so BDAG, our Greek lexicon, suggests ill will or malice, which fits here. So having set aside, therefore, all malice and all deceit, again, something done to others, all hypocrisy. Okay, there's a nice calc English word that we just brought from Greek directly into English. The lexicon gives a definition here: to create a public impression that is at odds with one's real purposes or motivations. So you're a fraud, basically.
Right. Intentionally.
Intentionally, yeah. Exactly. And then the other two behaviors, envy and all katalalias, you see speaking against their compound. Slander would be a good translation. So again, all behavior is done to others. So to put it together into good English, therefore, having set aside all malice and all deceit and hypocrisy and envy and all slander.
Yeah.
I think actually the ESV does make that participle an imperative. I guess assuming that you're picking up the imperative from verse 2.
Yeah.
But I think more typical is the aorist participle is sort of a ground for the imperative. And I'd rather see it as a temporal here.
Yeah, so if that was a present participle, it'd probably work better, wouldn't it? With the as an imperative.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
that would, exactly.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too because he's been using this vocabulary. So dalon,
Right.
right? No deceit is found in his mouth.
exactly.
Well, I guess we just in throughout, and then the hypocrisy piece, right?
Right. Right.
Brotherly love that's not hypocritical.
Hypocritical, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, and some of these are also just, I don't know, are they naturally plurals?
Yeah, I think so. There is a variant for hypocrisis to make it a singular, maybe to match the kakian and the dulon, I
Right.
guess. But then, thanis and katalalias are plural, so
Yeah,
it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference.
right. Okay. All right, well, anything else for that one?
No.
Before
Let's
moving
get
to the...
get the main clause.
All right, get to the lectionary.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that one, I guess. Hos arte geneta, brethe ta logikon, adolon, gala, epipotheseta, epipothesate, henna, in auto, auxetheta, eis soterion. Oh, and there's the end. All right.
Yeah.
I'm reading it, I'm reading. All right, so just to kind of walk through. All right, so as, hos, right? And newborn infants. I think that's probably, probably the best. I think that's probably the standard translation anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
you see arte, new or now born,
right.
Just
Right.
born, maybe. Yeah.
Right. It's taken right from the verb there too.
Mhm.
Okay. So as newborn infants, and this is where I think it gets interesting, and this is where I think some of the translations kind of take you in a bad direction, frankly. And then we get to the imperative, and we'll skip the next section here just for a moment. We'll jump to the imperative. All right. So aorist imperative. So desire, long for, right? And then we get our direct object, and this is where I think we run into some translation issue. So as newborn infants, desire, long for. All right, so milk, gala, adalon. So it's funny because this is like not.
Oh yeah.
It's like not deceitful,
Right.
but it's pure.
Pure, right.
Right, pure, but very specifically. I think there is a relationship here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that's by accident. We've been using the same vocabulary. But pure, because we're talking about milk. So long for pure milk. And this is where I take issue with what a lot of translations do. They'll say what? Spiritual?
Spiritual, yeah.
Yeah.
For logikon, right.
Yeah.
Which is just not even right.
Right. And it makes it even worse because you look at that, and first of all, I don't think spiritual, but it makes it even worse because later on in the section, you actually do have the word spiritual.
Exactly.
Pneumatic.
Yeah, you see it there in verse 5, right. So
Right.
why they need to import it here.
Right. And this is coming right after this section. Remember, we jumped around, as you mentioned, but this is coming right after this section where he's just been talking about the Word of God.
Yeah.
Enduring, right? So this
Right.
is, you just did the word of God endures into eternity. And
Hmm.
so I think, I don't know, I know that if this was in a vacuum, you could translate it as logical milk or something, or,
Yeah.
but
Right.
given the context, I would love to translate in a way that actually refers back to the word that he's just been talking about in the previous sentence.
Mm.
But I don't know how you would do that because that would sound kind of weird.
Yeah. In English, we don't really have an equivalent. I mean, the gloss that BDAG gives is thoughtful,
Yeah,
or reasoned out, right? Something
right,
like that. But it's certainly not spiritual.
right.
Um, yeah,
Certainly not spiritual.
logical in our context means something different,
Yeah, yeah,
as if it's just kind of you can think through it and come to the answer.
right.
Uh,
And again, in a vacuum, and I mean that's clearly, and I mean it's clearly the derivative, logic, right?
right,
It's I mean
right.
that kappa is like of the
Of the
logos,
logos,
right?
right. Hmm.
And so yeah, I mean it sounds silly, but at least in my mind, I think of like the wordly pure
Mm.
milk, right? The milk that is of the word that we've just been talking
Just
about.
yeah, yeah.
But
Interesting.
that's you can't put that in a translation because it sounds
Yeah,
weird too.
yeah.
So
Well, the same problem happens in Romans 12, actually, where they talk about this is your spiritual act of worship. Same word,
mm,
logikane.
yeah,
And again, they're completely wrong translation.
right,
So I don't know why. I guess probably they're just using whatever the King James did, 400 years ago. But
yeah,
uh, it's incorrect, and as you pointed out, it doesn't correspond to the pneumatikos in verse 5, where it
right,
actually is
and
spiritual
right. So it doesn't correspond to that, and it loses the connection of the previous
of the
section. The
previous section.
entire
Right.
previous the
Yeah.
whole all the work he just did now is
Yeah.
so
Okay.
all right. So let's keep going.
Yeah.
All right. So now we get a hina clause with the an aorist passive subjunctive here. Let me highlight that. Ox a theta. Okay. Um, and so, it's be caused to grow, or, yeah, grow up or something, so that, uh, and I don't know if I think it might be with it, kind of an instrumental thing, or is it, because
Mm.
we're talking about the milk. I could see if it was, or is you could grow up in it or grow up with it or by it. But I
Oh, I
kind of
see.
like it
Yeah.
as if continuing with the metaphor, therefore, or so that you would grow up with it into salvation
Or by means of it is
by
what you're
means
saying.
of it
Yeah. Okay.
because you're like
Yeah.
growing up like as an adult,
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah.
And
That makes sense.
you're drinking
Yeah.
the milk, you're growing
Hmm.
up into your salvation. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Good.
That's what I got for that one.
Yeah, I think that's right. Instrumental there, and it's referring back to the milk. Yeah. Um, Now we do have a little flag on the play here with isoterion,
Yeah.
which is omitted in some of the later minuscules Byzantine manuscripts, and but I think the King James retains it, if I remember right.
Hmm.
Let me just do a quick check on that. Oh, I don't have my King James up here. Well, you guys can check for yourself, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's right.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yeah, the King James loses it, so they don't include the isoterion in
Hmm.
the King James. Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, probably just lost by haplography here, I would guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could give off some kind of theological, I don't know, connotation, as if you don't have salvation or something,
Yeah.
and you grow up.
Well, you've got the ice, and then I
You do, yeah.
egoisas there, so maybe a haplography. One note too, and again, we talk a lot in these videos, I know, but soteria is not in most cases in the New Testament sort of my personal going to heaven kind of a thing, but salvation in the sense of God's bringing about his new activity among us.
Yeah.
You see this in Philippians, right? So work out your salvation with fear and trembling. He's talking about that life together in the community, not work out how you get to go to heaven. And I think Peter's doing the same thing here, growing up into this salvation, into this people that God is making you, this holy nation, to anticipate what he'll do in verses 8 through 10.
Right. Which just means you get to be a part of a much bigger picture, something much more extraordinary.
Yeah. And again, into the weeds a little bit, but soteria and soter are actually terms that the Roman emperors used of themselves. They called themselves saviors. They called their reigns soteria. And of course, they're going to get this issue with persecution in chapter 3. So I wonder if there's a link there. But in any event, we'll move on to verse 3. I've got the easy verse, right? Short.
All right.
And I'll, it's tiny on my screen, so I'll look down at my text.
Yeah. Right.
I egoiseste hati Christos ha kurios. Okay. So if you have a Nestle text, you notice that this is in italics because it's a citation from Psalm 34, which also we saw last week got cited in the second half of the chapter. But the Greek here, if you tasted that, and Christos is an interesting word. I think most translations just do that the Lord is good.
Right.
So this predicate nominative, but Christos is actually more kind, loving, benevolent is a word that the bead egg uses for this. So if you have tasted that the Lord is loving, benevolent, generous, kindly disposed, right? So it's based on his character, his way of relating to us, not just that he's good in some kind of a, in himself sense, but Christos is how he relates to us.
Yeah.
His benevolence toward us. And so that tasting, again, picks up from the milk that we get in verse 2. And it is a conditional sentence. And I think the English translations will add maybe something like an if indeed to try to emphasize that, it's already happened or something like that. There is actually a variant reading for I pair, which would make it indeed. And the King James picks that up. But here I think he's just using a rhetorical argument, right? He's stating it's a first-class condition, a basic condition.
Right.
And he's saying, look, if you have tasted, which of course you have, that the Lord is benevolent, then grow up, right?
Right.
Based on what he's given you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I was thinking about that connection with, the continuation of the metaphor, also the tasting part, like you connected to the milk. And Christos in the Latin text is translated as dulcis.
Oh, wow.
Sweet or something,
yeah.
And
nice,
I think that it almost bridges the gap. Like you're saying that it's like he's good to you, and it's like that how the milk that you receive is, it's good for you. It tastes good. Oh,
that's an interesting translation. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
All right.
Number
Verse
4. Yeah. Not as short as yours, but I won't be bitter about it at all. Okay. So, pros hon pros erkomenoi, lithon zonta, hupo anthropon, main apo de dokemas menon, para de theo eklekton intimon. All right. So it was longer and had hard words. Thanks for that. All right. Pros, this is one of them probably, I love when erkomai, even if it's got a prefix, it at least kind of looks like erkomai this time, right?
Yeah,
so
right.
We've got a present, participle erkomai, but it's pros, so it's drawn near, and it's a doubling up of the preposition, which happens,
He's done that a couple of times already.
Yeah, so he probably didn't have to have this first pros. But and then you get your accusative relative, pronoun. So, drawing near to him. And then we have another accusative. So we have hon accusative, lithon zonta accusative. So it's drawing near to him, the stone, the living stone. Right? From zao, living stone. All right, so this next one, we have this men day. On the one hand, this. On the other hand, that. So we'll take it kind of one at a time here. Hupo anthropon, by men. So on the one hand, by men, and then there's this nice long word that apo dead to kimas menon, which means it's a perfect passive participle, just rejected. But I think what is important here is to note that it's also an accusative singular here. So it goes with hon, lithon, zonta, right? So we're still talking about this. We still have the same antecedent.
Right.
So we're same person having been is in a state of having been rejected by men.
Yeah. So all referring back to the kurios in verse 3.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So is in a state of having been rejected by men, but de, kind of on the other hand, paratheo, before God, elect or chosen, esteemed. And again, they also have that masculine singular accusative ending. Okay. And I don't know if it's worth here just, I don't know. But on the other hand, chosen by God, esteemed. On the other hand, by God, chosen, esteemed. I mean, I think these are, I don't know if
it's got to be
in
apposition.
Yeah,
right?
some kind of apposition here.
Yeah. I think the English translations even had an and there, chosen and esteemed. But you don't really need to. Chosen by God, esteemed.
Yeah.
Just have to put a comma after that like you did there.
Now, one thought I had, just a thought, and just kind of exercise some grammatical possibilities, is that we've got this reference to this living stone, which is a noun, and so are these adjectives, even with this participle as a verbal adjective, and again they're all referring back to the hon, which is all referring back to the hakurios. But are these? Could we say, to what layer back do we actually have to go in order to get a good translation? All right, so it's all referring to the same person, but and I say that, all right. So the stone, living, on the one hand, in a state of having been rejected by men, but chosen, esteemed before God. Is that the stone being rejected by men, and the stone being chosen, esteemed by God?
Yeah.
And I say that because we've got this string of adjectives. Or could you do something like living stone, the one who is in a state of having been rejected by men on the one hand, but on the other hand, the elected one by God who is esteemed or something. I don't know. Or does it even matter?
I see what you're saying. Is it referring directly to Lord, or is the rejection and the chosen referring to the stone? I mean, it's metaphorical anyway, so you're getting to the same point.
Yeah. But the reason I said this is because I'm thinking about the stone being rejected, becoming the cornerstone, right? So
I mean, you're picking up from the Gospels,
right?
And,
Anyway, that's just seeing some grammatical possibilities when they're all these accusative masculine singulars. Where do you tie the knot in the translation?
Right.
But that's all I have for that one.
Well, the other thing you could do with that eklekton entomon is to take it as a predicate accusative, but chosen by God as honored.
Mm.
And that actually might work better, because if you've got the rejected piece, which implies dishonor, then you've got the chosen, which results in honor. So chosen as honored, despite the human rejection.
Right.
Yeah, so probably better to take that as a predicate accusative.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Good.
Verse 5. Let me get my large print here.
And you actually have some words to do on this one. This is good.
Yeah, there's
She put some work in here.
There's a long one, yeah. Kaiotoi hos lithoizontis, oikodomaiste oikos pneumatikos, eis euratoima hagion, ananenkai pneumatikos thusias, oi prostektos theo dia Jesu Christou. So it's going to tie back Jesu Christou at the end there. That kind of comes together nicely. Autoi here, the pronoun, is here functioning as an ascensive, right? So you yourselves, also you yourselves, and you're picking up the you from the oikodomaista, from the verb. So you have noticed the nominative, you're going to translate it as a you because of the verb. So you yourselves as lithoi zontos, present participle, living stones, and then oikodomaiste, it's a middle passive indicative here, so passive. You are being built up. Okay, so again, referring back to the milk that you're growing on. Now you're being built up. He's shifting metaphors from the food to the stone, right? But it's the same idea. You as living stones are being built up. And here now we can actually say spiritual, because the text says spiritual. Pneumatikos oikos. And I'll just make this personal peeve here. I could say this definitely in Paul, and I think we could probably say it in Peter as well, that pneumatikos is not spiritual, meaning not physical, but spiritual, meaning pertaining to the Holy Spirit.
Right. Capital P here, right?
Yeah, and I think you got to do that. It's not some kind of something you don't see with your eyes, because quite clearly it is. It's a concrete reality, right? The church, the body of Christ. And so, spiritual house, meaning house of the Spirit, right? I think that's a fair way to say that. And so and it's in a nominative because it's in a predicate position to the lithoizontos. So you're being built up as living stones, a spiritual house. And then eis here, it's a preposition, but probably with a telic purpose here, built up in order to be a holy priesthood, right? And we're going to get that word later on again. And then what's the purpose of the priesthood? Ananenkai, the aorist infinitive from anaphero. So to offer up, and here we get again, spiritual sacrifices.
Right.
And again, I would say these are, to use Pauline language, fruit of the Spirit kinds of things, right? Certain kinds of behaviors. And then what are these things? What's the result? They are oi prosdectus, something like favorable or pleasing to God. And then the key, I like this inclusio here, through Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So it always goes through Christ, to go back to, you've tasted that the Lord is well disposed, right?
Right.
And so it's through Christ that these spiritual, that is fruit of the Spirit, offering sacrifices are well pleasing to God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did you get that clean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's also a connection. There's a few other connections I was thinking about with lithon zonta and lithoi zontes.
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so referring to Christ or the Lord
Oh
as
yeah.
the living
Yeah.
stone, and that now you're living stones.
Yeah.
And what's kind of cool about this, and I don't know, we when we think of sacrifices, you think of what offering a sacrifice, maybe an
Hmm.
animal, something on the altar. Well, what happens to that sacrifice? I mean, it's put on the altar, but part of that process is also there's a consumption of meat that takes place.
Right. Right.
And so I like this idea of actually you're moving from this idea of newborn infants drinking milk to actually now becoming priests who are partaking
Mm.
of meat in this
Oh,
whole
interesting. Yeah.
process, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and so you're offering up the sacrifice to God, and I think it's easy. We talk about sacrifice this, talk sacrifice that, but it's also so closely, connected to, the the diet of the people of Israel, right? It's not just
Oh
you
yeah.
just burn an animal off, and um, so. I mean, I'm even thinking about how when you wanted to eat an animal, you have take it, you have to get killed a certain way, and all this stuff. Like
Hmm.
that's deeply connected here. So, and I think that again, we just don't think that way because sacrificing is not a part of
Right.
our diet, right? We don't.
Right.
But for them, I think it probably was. They probably had some
Mm.
kind of connection there. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
It could be there.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean, clearly, it's. I do like your point about the connection of lithon
yeah,
zonta and then lithoi zontis, right? So, he doesn't use chief cornerstone language here, but that's the idea. He's the cornerstone, and then the body is built up. The individual's built into that building, and then what's the building for, right? It's a holy building. We're a holy priesthood, and what do priests do? They offer these, again, spiritized, if you will, sacrifices, which are pleasing to God
right.
on account of Christ or through Christ. Yeah.
And to be fair, he is moving toward the cornerstone language, right? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair
So,
enough. Okay. Yeah, we'll get that in a minute.
yeah,
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, I don't think it's all as disjointed as it might
Hmm.
seem at first look. But all right,
Yeah.
any other thoughts on 5?
No, good. Good.
All right.
No big problems there.
Okay. All right. 6. Diati peri ekai in graphe, and then I guess a quote. uh, Edu tithemi in Zion, lithon, acrogonion, eklekton, intimon, kai, ho, pistoion, ep auto, me, kat skunfe. Okay, so just having to scroll up here between the two. And so we're going to getting an interesting way to introduce a Bible passage,
Oh yeah.
frankly.
Yeah.
So therefore, and then so that's the easy. All right, that's easy. Fine. Therefore,
Hmm.
right, in graphe, in Scripture, fine. And then we get this peri ekai, which is just
Yeah.
peri echo, it's like to contain something.
Right. Right.
So, therefore, it contains in Scripture. And I looked this word up to
Yeah.
see where else it's used,
Right.
and Luke uses it in chapter 5,
Yeah. One time.
one
Right.
one time, and I don't know. I don't know what to say about that except for it's kind of just a weird way to introduce a Bible passage.
Yeah. And in Luke, it means something like fear had a hold of them.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
So not even the
Grasps.
same kind of context.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting use here.
Right. So it contains in Scripture. All right. So and then we get our our Old Testament quote. Say, behold, I place. It's great, by the way, for anyone who's learning Greek, studying Greek, or I suppose even if you know Greek, when you actually get like the dictionary entry of a verb,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
there,
There you go.
right?
It's just there. Right.
Okay. So therefore, I place in Zion a stone. How convenient, right? A stone, and now we've got
Oh, yeah.
so a cornerstone, and this, let's see, this language, he's going to use it a little bit later on, so just kind of keep an eye on this gonia.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to make an appearance again. Okay, so, but this is like just the word, I guess, for, cornerstone, chosen, which is how we just described it back up here. Okay. Or, elect or something, esteemed. Right? It's like, hey,
Yep.
I think, Peter maybe read this before he wrote the previous thing. So there it is. So before it was just, even that kind of appositional thing was just, he's just quoting, right?
Right.
Okay, esteemed. Or something else I was going to mention, I forgot to talk about it before, so I'll bring it up now. It's the same root that he's been using this whole time to talk about a whole ton of other things, Tim, which we saw it as, the precious blood of
Right.
Jesus, or the precious gold, silver, and so, but it's in Tim, and this is, of course, your Septuagint way of doing it, and so he's quoting it that way, but again, same stem that's been showing up. Okay, all right. So that to the next part. All right.
Yeah. One quick note:
please.
the acrogony ion.
Yeah.
You see the word acro there. Usually that means high point, upper point.
Yeah. Okay.
And it could actually mean capstone,
Capstone.
like the capstone of an arch or something.
Yeah, cap corner.
But
right.
yeah, it could also mean cornerstone, so maybe keystone. But it's a little. Acro usually means the high point.
Yeah.
But it just, I guess, comes to mean it, cornerstone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it is good. I mean, since we do think of a cornerstone as a more basic kind of a thing. Yeah, I think another word that just says mainstone, or
Keystone.
Keystone, right? Keystone.
Yeah.
So it doesn't
I
matter
think
exactly where it's placed.
that's in the arch, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Anyway, just
got to
observation.
make a decision, huh?
Yeah.
To see how you picture it. Although I do kind of like keystone as, like the head, but
Right.
all right. And so all right, and the one trusting, the one believing. We had talked about this before, using pistoio as a participle here. I forgot what the conversation was like when we said that, but it doesn't matter. All right, so the one trusting, the one believing, ep auto, in him, and then we have a aorist passive subjunctive with a negation before it. What I guess ought not to be put to shame. I mean, it's a negative, kind of like a negative command or
well,
something.
actually, the ume plus the subjunctive is usually a strong negation.
Yeah.
So something like will never be put to shame.
Yeah, will never. Very good. Yeah.
Will in no way be put to shame, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like a strong negation.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking. I think of that negative command with the subjunctive, and it being but of course, being a third person, it's almost that there's probably a close connection between a strong negation and like a negative, jussive, like it will not happen, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Same kind of an idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Anything else on that one?
No. It's
All
good.
right. Awesome.
Good. All right. Verse 7. I think this one's, again, pretty straightforward.
Yep.
So humin un, and I think it's important that he puts the humin up front here. To you, right? And we're going to get the contrast to the apistusin in the second clause. But therefore, and you have to supply amy here, it is honor to you, and then a substantive participle, tois pistusin, present tense, to you who believe. So there's that Tim stem again that we've seen a couple of times. Therefore it is honor to you who believe. And then we get the contrast, de, apistusin, to those not believing, and then we're going to pick up the quote again. To those not believing, and now he's going to pick up the Septuagint again. The stone which, relative pronoun hon, and I like relative pronouns are easy because you always have the rough breathing mark. So the way I remember it is you think of your mother-in-law, and she's always a little bit rough to you, right? So if you see a rough breathing, no, I'm just kidding. But my mother-in-law is quite sweet. But anyway, the stone which the builders, so now there's your subject, oikodamuntes, present participle, which they rejected. And I love the hutos here, the demonstrative, emphatic pronoun here. This very one, not some random stone, but the very stone that the builders rejected, has become the egenethe here from ginomai, aorist passive, has become unto the, and then here you have kephalein genias, the head of the corner. Yeah. And again, usually that's translated cornerstone, but
right.
See, it kind of works with what we said earlier about
Right.
acrogonia. So
Yeah.
I don't know, take your pick.
Yeah, so the corner is like the top corner of the arch.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. Which again, you take that stone out and the whole thing collapses, right? The whole archway collapses. So it's the keystone, right? Anyway, you can just use cornerstone not to confuse things. But
yeah, well, it's interesting because we've been just moving back to I won't scroll up on the screen. I'll just look in one of my texts here that I've got in front of me. I mean, it was explicit, right? That it was a temple that were
right.
Isn't that right? I mean, trying to
built up in a holy temple.
In a holy temple. Okay. Well, I just say that because what he's describing now could be a triumphal arch, right? I mean, that's but you don't offer the sacrifice at the arch, right?
Yeah.
But that is very imperial kind of language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, sorry to bring this up, and I hate to be political, but it's a little touchy in Washington D.C. right now with the proposed arch in the right in front of Arlington Cemetery.
Wow.
But,
okay. Yeah. Right. All right. So there you go.
Talk about that.
You want to talk about that? What else would you like to get off your chest today? All right. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I wasn't thinking about that. I was actually picturing the Arch of Titus. This is the entryway to the Roman.
Well, exactly what it is. Yeah.
Well, that's true. It is.
Well,
right?
Constantine's arch, right nearby.
Right. Constantine's arch is right there.
Yeah.
But
we're in Rome, by the way, not Washington now.
Right. That's right. So, yeah. But I mean, but it's interesting though, because that kind of language, you see what kind of power those symbols have, for better or for worse, right?
Right.
The point is that they're there to make a statement. And I don't know, I was just thinking head of the arch language, but he's talking about a temple. So but then I think to myself, well, I don't know, I could thinking also Peter died before the destruction of the temple, and so it's not like he's, so I don't know.
Yeah,
interesting. I mean, we can talk about the arch in DC if you want to.
No, we don't need to go there.
So, all right, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, all right. Number 8. I keep saying number. Verse 8. Kai lithos pros komatos kai petros skandalu hoi pros koptusin to logo apithuntes eis ha kai etathysin. Okay. So, and this is, I guess, I don't know, part of the payoff with some of this stuff, but we're kind of continuing the quoting of the Old Testament, right? But we're moving to a different spot. Psalm 118 is a song they're singing at the triumphal entry, right?
Right.
Hosanna to the highest, which in some sense is like almost a prophecy against themselves, because how does the psalm end?
Yeah.
Bind the
Right.
festal sacrifices with cords up to the horns of the altar, right? Um, and all right, so that's the move that we're making. All right, so we've got this both and kai, which he's been doing that with a few of these, right? We had the mende,
Oh, yeah.
we got the kai. Okay, so both a stone of stumbling, and Petra, which is an interesting move now. He's like writing himself into it or something, and
Yeah.
a rock of scandal. A
Yeah.
rock of. I know it's probably not the right word, right? I mean, it's obviously a
Yeah.
cognate, but it's
Scandal is more like falling, right? Or causing to fall.
yeah.
Yeah.
Although I mean, it's like an obstacle, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah,
But you trip over it,
yeah. You
right?
trip over it, so
Right.
it's a rock it's a stone of stumbling. It's a tripping rock, right? A stone of stumbling, a rock of tripping, um, and okay, and then we get to our verb. So it's proskopto. So this word, I'm looking it up, it can mean both to stumble and to strike, which I
Mm.
guess is what you do when you're walking and you stumble over a rock. You kick it and
Oh,
bust your toe, and then you fall over it, right?
okay.
Um, but anyway, present active, third person plural. So the ones stumbling, or they stumble, and then we jump to this participle
Mm-hmm.
here, right? This present active participle. Again, nominative plural to agree with the subject, hoi. So they stumble, disobeying or being disobedient to the word.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right, and so
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of thought, okay, could you say something like being disobedient to the word, they stumble,
Yeah, I mean, it makes better sense in English.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, I think that kind of, again, the dual meaning of stumble and strike, I think is I think there's something there. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
and then we get tithemi again, except we actually have to do some work on this one.
Right.
Aorist passive indicative third plural. Um, they've been placed. Oh, sorry. Yeah. For which they've also been placed. Okay, and this I know, for if you're just kind of learning Greek, this is not necessarily an easy construction, because you look at it
Yeah.
and you look it up and you think, all right, well, what does this mean? It's idiomatic. Um, it can be like I think it's for which.
Yeah, it's kind of, we had that telic use of ice before. Yeah,
Yeah,
for which purpose?
right.
Yeah.
So there's more to it, and there's going to be
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of more of that too.
Yeah.
But so for which they've been placed, which I think is interesting, because again, we're talking about stones and a building and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and now we've got the placement of the people that are stumbling. So,
Yeah.
all right,
All right. So getting close to wrapping it up, and now I'll have
we are.
some familiar language. And we start off with another humes, another second person pronoun here. And it's fronted again, just like we had in, what was that, verse 7? Where he did that?
Mm.
Yeah, to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is honor
Yep.
to you. Yeah, so he
Yep.
does the
Who
same
mean?
thing
Yep.
again. So it's this contrast. Again, he's kind of two kinds of people. There's you and them, right? So they are set for this very purpose.
Right.
Okay, but
Mm.
you. Okay, what about you? So now let's talk about you for a minute here. So nice gospel language. And now we're going to get some, again, fairly familiar language. And again, I think, well, let's just walk through it.
Yeah.
You, plural, are a a chosen race, right? So there's a klekton again,
Yes.
which you picked up from Jesus earlier.
Yep.
And notice it's singular. It's a collective, right? Genus, people, race. Boy, I don't know if I like race for that word. Actually, it's
Well,
not
yeah,
really. Yeah.
well, especially because we've also got ethnos here coming
Right.
up, and I decided on family,
Well,
like
yeah, the
family group.
BDAG, yeah, now that I look at my notes, BDAG actually uses descendant, uh, uh,
Yeah,
part of a line, right? You are
yeah,
chosen line of descendants. Yeah,
right,
maybe it's a way to get at that.
right. When you have ethnos and laos
Right.
and
Yeah.
genos, you have to make a decision,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And again, they in English these have become kind of loaded words, but they didn't have the kind of loading
right.
in
Yeah.
Greek. Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, you are a chosen line. Maybe let's use that word.
Oh, I
Maybe
like
line.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's you're a toima again, um, a royal priesthood,
Yep.
and then he's just going to string these together. A holy ethnos, and here again we need to be careful. This ethnos is simply a people united culturally, so it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
ethnic in our sense of the word, which is a calque from the Greek, but more they share a common heritage, culture, kinship, whatever word you want to use.
Well,
Nation might be a good word here.
see, and that's what I've got, but and I think to myself, but even still, like almost like if it was a nation, but not simply defined by, geographical boundaries or
Right,
something. I mean,
right,
that's a part of it. Like there's a
yeah,
part of it, but even the idea of strict, easy
right,
geographical boundaries is a more modern conception,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so yeah, not maybe or maybe say nation not as like a geopolitical entity. Well, that's still I don't know. So,
Yeah.
but uh,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah, I think, and again, I think he's kind of he's picking all these terms. You get this in Revelation, right, where you get every tribe, nation, language, and tongue,
Right,
and
right.
he's just kind of every kind of category of
Yeah,
people are there, right? And I
yeah,
think
that's
that's
right.
kind of what he's doing here. It's not that there's shades of difference among these. He's just,
Right,
it's kind of almost a poetic. Let's pull all these terms together,
right.
and all of them, of course, emphasizing their uniqueness, but also their being in community together. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, and then I like this phrase, laos eis peripoiesin. So peripoiesas here, uh, uh, hard to translate. Somebody being preserved is kind of what he's getting at, protected.
Hmm.
Um, uh, uh, I think the English has a people unto possession, unto his possession.
See, yeah, I took it as like a well, sorry. So possession is itself a verbal noun, right?
Right.
And so I took it as like uh, almost like it's the object of the verb, like for possession, almost like for possessing. Um, that's at least the way that I.
Yeah. Well, you need to supply a his here, right? Which is implied, I guess, for
Well, see,
his
but that's
possessing.
why I try to do that without it
Oh,
because
yeah, I
it's
see.
right. So
Okay.
like for possession, they're
Oh,
they're
for
there for
possession.
possession.
Okay. Yeah.
Like
And
somebody's
then,
got to take them, and so I'm going to take them.
yeah. Yeah. Well, and you don't get the person doing all this till the end, right?
Right.
People of God, right?
Yeah.
But it'll get picked up later on. And then I love this phrase, help us. So help us is going to give us a result clause with the subjunctive, exon gylate. So you see the eta there telling you it's a subjunctive, pretty easy to pick that one up.
Mm-hmm.
And you see the verb angelo there, exangelo, to proclaim out, with the result that you proclaim out tas eritas. Awesome word here. Translations, I think, use excellencies here. This is, I mean, this is a key word culturally in Rome and Greek culture. The kind of best characteristics you could possibly have. You'll see this in civic inscriptions, where people's eritas is praised, right? Or they're just called their arete, right? Is like a virtuous woman is called an arete because she's doing the right things, right? So she's a model, she's a paragon, in a sense. So yeah, excellencies is almost not strong enough. It's the virtues, the outstanding qualities, something like that. And then, whose qualities are they? Two, a nice relative clause here. Tu ex gratuissimas calasantas. So two calasantas. You see the article and the pronoun or the participle separated, and then who called you from darkness, out of darkness, and then into his marvelous light. And I don't think you can do a better word than marvelous, except whenever I see that, and I'm going to date myself here, I think of Billy Crystal, right? You look marvelous, right? Yeah. Right. So for what it's worth, way to remember Thaumazo. I don't know how you get to Billy Crystal from there, but into his marvelous light. So darkness, light, right? Unbelieving, believing, stumbling, honor, right? All these contrasts going on here.
Right.
And the resulting new condition. And again, it's purpose to proclaim out the excellencies. So, and I want to emphasize this here, that it's not just, this people exists kind of for its own purposes. This people exists to proclaim out the virtues of this God who does these amazing things. Right? So the people themselves are a testimony to the unbelievers who are still in darkness of what this God has done. I think we can't lose that. And, Paul will do this again in Philippians. We come back to Philippians 3 a couple times here.
Yeah.
Or Philippians 2. But, children of light in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, right? Same kind of an idea here, that the light shines, and here the excellencies, the outstanding virtues are proclaimed. And, of course, the goal is that others are gathered into this light, this people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that all different peoples, nations, whatever word you want to use, anywhere that can describe a big group of people is called in. Yeah.
Well, and that really gets emphasized in verse 10, because now we're going to pick up again Pentateuch language, covenant language. That's right. And now, who's part of the covenant? It's not just one people; it's all people.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, well, let's do it. Now I get the easy one.
You get the easy one. Good.
All right. Hoi pote u laos nun de laos theu. Hoi uk ele emenoi nun de ele athentes.
Oh, yeah, good. Get the little parsing practice here.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, maybe, this is a great one for our parsing of the day. Might as well finish it off here. All right, good.
There you go.
That's good. So, all right, so the ones, let's use the right highlighting tool here. All right, so the ones who were, once or before, pote, previously, ulaos, not a people, but now are the people of God. Okay, those who, and then we get eleo twice here. All right, and so it's those who. Not in a state of having received mercy, perfect passive participle. Okay. Now, aorist passive participle have received mercy, and so we can kind of zoom in on eleo
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk about it.
Lots of epsilons there in that
There are
stem.
lots of epsilons. Yeah, that is kind of a beast to pronounce too, especially
Yeah.
this,
L
kind of thing.
O, I guess you'd say, right.
Yeah, because
O, yeah.
yeah, eleo, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's an E contract already.
Yeah.
I don't even know what did you. All right, but it means to have mercy. All right, so it
Yeah.
means to have mercy, and uh, and so I guess we should just. All right, so you get a perfect passive. So you have the perfect your perfect stem here. It's I mean duplicated. The
Yeah.
reduplication is
Yeah.
just looks like an augment, but that's what
Right.
happens when you have two epsilons next to each other.
Right.
Um, and I recently, eta and epsilon, there's not a huge relationship there in the way that I think at some point I think Jim Veltz talks about this. The eta was an H at some point very, very early on,
Mm.
okay, which is why it looks that way. But I was explaining to some of my Greek students recently that the omicron and the omega, there's actually a relationship there, at least the names, right?
Oh,
The
yeah.
omicron and the omega, right? The
Oh,
little
yeah.
o and the big
Right.
O, right?
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
so when that's lengthened, that one actually makes sense. Um, okay, so anyway, so we got reduplication. So it's a perfect stem, and then the lengthening of the this second epsilon to an eta also.
Mm-hmm.
And then you give your min infix, and then your second declension ending because it's masculine, so masculine plural, right? So
Nominative,
that's
right.
not a whole lot there. This one is a little interesting. The next one,
Oh, yeah.
the aorist passive. The aorist passive participle is kind of an interesting thing because I always, you take like your normal stem, and then you just add a theta to it,
Yeah.
rather
Right.
than going from the sixth principal part, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of weird, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like an aorist passive participle. You would think, oh, well, you just go to the sixth principal part, and then you add an infix and add a declension ending or something. But no, you take your kind of your normal stem, and then you add a theta to it, and then when you add a theta, that's when the eta lengthens.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then you get your ENT infix, and then you have an ES here because for these, now you've got a third declension ending. So these are seconds, and this one's a third declension. But it's still, nominative plural.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
that aorist participle is like it's like pretending to be an aorist passive or something. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
how would you
And
fake
throw
it? We'll
you.
just add a theta,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Now, one note here, and you obviously translated this correctly. It's a third person. Those previously, right, not receiving mercy. Now these receiving mercy. Now the King James does keep those as third persons. For whatever reason, the NIV and the ESV both turn these into second persons. So once you are not a people, but now you are a people of God. Once you had not received mercy, but now you have received mercy. And I guess they pull that from verse 9.
Yeah.
With the verb there.
Right.
So you could make a case for it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I'd
I
rather
don't like
keep
that.
it. I don't like it either.
Yeah.
And yeah, and maybe let's just put the spin on it here, because again, the point of, or the result, I should say, with the result that you proclaim out the excellent qualities of the one who called you out of darkness. Once others hopefully hear that proclamation, they are gathered into this people.
Right.
So the people, bounded set, if you will, is not yet defined. It should be growing, and others should be brought into this in the same way. The receiving of mercy and those who were in darkness could yet come into the light.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I think now, going back to the first or the second and third person thing, there is a little bit. Again, I don't like putting that in the second person, but there is a little bit of precedence for that in this passage. Didn't we have autoi, that was an emphatic?
Yeah.
We translate as an emphatic. I don't know, but
yeah, but there you have it's definitely modifying a specific verb.
Right.
So I'm not sure. Now, granted, they're pulling the third person here from the Septuagint, which might explain it. But again, Peter could allude to it and write it in the second person.
Right. They don't have any problem doing that kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So I'd stick with the third person here, just to actually translate it rather than let the text stand as it is.
Yeah. Well, the Latin translation keeps it as third person.
Oh yeah.
So it's not
so if they do
a long
then
history of Well, that's right.
Yeah.
So this is saying it's not a long history of translating it that way or something.
Yeah.
So
good.
Okay.
All righty. Well, that was quick, down and dirty, easy, I thought, but still took us a while. But if you are planning ahead and want to look ahead to next week, we're going to jump over the rest of chapter 2, which we've already covered, and we'll get to 1 Peter 3, verses 13 through 22. And that is a pretty complicated text, a lot of strange forms, and actually a lot of manuscript issues, lots of different readings in the manuscripts. So it might take a little bit of untangling, but we'll call it good for 1 Peter 2, 1 through 10.
All right.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.